Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel Health and Fitness in Children. One of the parent has asked me specifically, what are the causes and consequences of childhood obesity? So thank you Mr. Leonard for asking me that, and it's a very important question. So I thought I would spend some time and go through what actually causes childhood obesity and what are the consequences of it. Now let us look at the board where I have jotted down some causes of childhood obesity. So when I've asked some parents, one of the common things they always tell me is obesity is hereditary. My parents were obese, grandparents were obese, so on. So but if we look at research as a factor and look at it, probably genetics contributes to 5% of it and not more. So this means that obesity is not just a unilateral problem, it is a multilateral problem. It has many factors which often are associated together and cause this problem. So body mass index, I have already spoken in one of my videos before, but for the viewers I am repeating it. A body mass index which is measured as weight in kilograms divided by height square in meters is called as body mass index. The normal BMI of adults is between 20 to 25. When we come to children, we talk about it as centiles, so that also gives a perspective on their age. So between 3rd centile to 85th centile, the child is normal. Anybody who has a BMI greater than 85th centile up to 95th centile is called as overweight, and anybody whose body mass index is more than 95th centile is taken as obese for that age group. Parental factors. This plays a very important role. One, of course, parents are the ones who pass on the hereditary through the genetic material, but more importantly, the parental food habits, lifestyle habits, living habits in the house also contributes to the child's food intake. So if the parents are less active and are not an exercising couple, the same thing or same habits is passed on to their children. Availability of fast foods, beverages, that is sugary drinks such as Coca-Cola, Sprite, etc., fruit juices, and snacks. When I say snacks, it could be chips, wafers, many of these fried items. These items, if they are easily available at home, so the child's first tendency is to pick it up, and this in turn becomes an habit and can significantly lead to overweight. Also, over the generations, a trend has developed where it looks to be cool if you are having a burger or you are having a soft drink as compared to you having, let's say, a fruit. So this sea change shift in children's behavior also contributes them to start consuming more of these fast foods. Activity. If we were to roll back the years by 2 or 3 decades, most children used to walk to the school, or older children would cycle to school. So the activity would start at that point itself. Most children after in the school, they all have PT sessions, which is physical training sessions, and post school they always would go out in the nearby neighborhood and play for a couple of hours. But as the time changed because of the traffic woes or the congestion, most parents are not happy to let their child walk to the school or even cycle to the school. So one of the survey, not from India though, showed that in the recent times more than 55% of the children were dropped to the school either by a school van or by a personal car or a two-wheeler because parents felt it was unsafe for the child to be at road. This itself killed quite a bit of their activity. Also, when they came back home, if the neighborhood was a congested place, they were not allowed to play outdoors and the child is largely kept indoors. A indoor child is significantly reduction in activity, and this greatly leads to childhood obesity. Screen time. So 20-30 years back, the amount of TV watched or even computers did not exist at that time, so was probably very less. Now, even if I were to discount the online schooling time, I'm sure any child between the ages of 5 to 18 years would spend more than 2 or 3 hours on either the iPad or the desktop computer or the TV or the phone of their parents. One research paper says that every 1 hour of increased screen time per day increases the obesity chances by 2%, which means if a child is watching a TV, let's say 1 hour per day, versus a child who is watching a TV 3 hours per day, the chances of this child becoming obese increases by 6%. Depression. So many a times now the group play has not been possible. One, of course, the times being COVID, most parents are not sending them out of the house, and also with the prevailing situation of the congested neighborhoods. So a child locked up at house will lead to an anxiety states or depressive states. Again, this is compensated by eating ready-made snacks or fast foods, leading to a huge rise in the obesity. So I think these are some of the important key causes which causes childhood obesity. Again, it is not one factor, it usually is a combination of multiple factors which ultimately lead to a child becoming overweight or obese. What does obesity mean to children and what are its effects? The effects of obesity I have divided into 3 parts. One is the medical effects, one is the social and emotional effects, and lastly is the academic effects. So if a child is obese early on, the child develops snoring, and if the child is too heavy, can develop sleep apnea. When we say sleep apnea, sometimes in between their night sleep, they are not able to breathe well. Hence, when they wake up in the morning, they are tired, they are not able to concentrate in the school. Fatty liver. A few decades back, fatty liver was associated always with people above 40 or 45 years of age. Nowadays, even younger children and teenage children who are overweight or obese are known to have fatty livers. Diabetes, which initially used to be a disease, type 2 diabetes, a disease of the old age, has now started to affect young children and young adults because of obesity. Cardiovascular diseases, people who are obese, we know that their chances of having an heart attack or hypertension or a stroke is significantly higher when compared to the normal weight population. Children, especially female children who are known to be obese, suffer from polycystic ovarian disease, PCOD, which is commonly referred as. So these people will have menstrual abnormalities and irregular cycles. Children who are overweight also put on a lot of weight on their knees and foot. They may have flat foot, they may have musculoskeletal joint pains and many orthopedic problems if their gait is not proper. Coming to socio and emotional problems. Children who are overweight or obese will not make it into any of the competitive sports such as running, athletics, cricket or football, so the children become left out and probably they are made fun of at schools. This also will lead to bullying. So this child starts detesting activity and exercise, which further contributes to the obesity problem itself. These children also have a negative body image about themselves. They have a low self-esteem, and this can also lead to depression in young children. Academic. When we look at the academic portion, some of the research conducted shows that obese children do not do well in studies. Probably many other factors such as low self-esteem or bullying contribute to it. So these children are the ones who do not complete their degrees and opt out of their studies early on and go into some odd jobs. So in summarizing, childhood obesity is a combination of multiple factors. It is greatly increasing in the last 2 decades, probably especially so in the last 10 years. It has serious consequences medically, emotionally, and on academic performance of children. Thank you, and I would be coming more in the further video sessions to talk about how we can tackle this epidemic.